It's a reunion, raw, reunion, raw. And why the raw reunion failed?
That was quick.
I didn't. Where was the countdown?
Where's the countdown? Where was the preview?
Why the raw reunion failed?
I was looking at Twitter.
I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen, caught slightly unaware. We thought we had a bit more of a lead in there. Welcome to the Raw Review edition of WrestleRamble, where I know the title seems a bit gloom and doom. I haven't really spoken to you about it yet.
No.
I personally did get a kick out of this Raw reunion episode.
I got a kick out of all the nostalgia stuff.
However, the argument we're going to make, it's very superficial and it just doesn't do anything about building stars or making you interested about that SummerSlam thing that's soon. Please leave a comment down below if you're watching the non-live stream. Press the thumbs up button. Give us a subscribe. Check us out over on Screenstalker. We did a really fun Comic-Con Marvel roundup yesterday over there.
It was good fun, wasn't it?
It was good. And we are joined to answer your super chats by WrestleTalk.com's Randy Andy Datson. I rolled an R.
Wonderful shirt.
Yeah, you do like it, don't you?
I do. It's really nice, mate. And
it's pastel-y.
And I like the combination with the shorts. It's really, really good,
Should I
mate.
show the shorts?
I mean, yeah.
I'm wearing a nice pink pair
Oh, it's good, mate.
shorts.
Don't flash. Don't get us demonetized.
There you go.
I mean, I wore a shirt,
I spent like the first 10 minutes of the podcast praising your shirt.
but these guys don't know.
Okay, well, your shirt was lovely.
Thank you very much.
It genuinely is nice.
Okay, so the Raw reunion special was last night. It felt hodgepodge. It felt very thrown together. It was thrown together anyway because this was something that the USA Network suddenly said, let's do this because ratings are quite down and we need something to bolster them up again. But on top of that, it was very last minute because a lot of the legends weren't cleared very close to when the show began. So there's one particular bit where it's AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, and there's the whole DX rundown and everything, and DX endorsed Seth Rollins. That was meant to be for Ricochet, apparently, but Ricochet had a elbow infection.
Yeah. And I think... I thought it felt weird at the start. That Usos revival match felt like it was supposed to be a six-man. Like it was supposed to be the Usos and Rikishi versus the Revival and Devon.
Rikishi wasn't cleared.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense then.
Wasn't cleared to give the stink face. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how that's possible.
You say in fairness, but Kevin Nash did tear his quad making a tag once.
That is fair.
It can happen, I guess.
So I guess if this special went differently, like if you had all of DX endorsing Ricochet, just like how they endorsed Finn Balor and the club at Raw 25, that went well. And like how, the Usos and the Revival would have hopefully been bolstered by Rikishi and Devon, then we'd have a different view of this. But if this episode was a way to draw in old viewers who have fallen out of love with the product, use nostalgia to bring them in, build storylines, get your current stars who are there every week, moreover, using the stars of the past, then this was a failure.
Oh, on quite a number of levels. So you weren't here when they announced they were doing Raw Reunion because that was on the Extreme Rules show. They said, we're going to do this. And I said to Pete at the time, this is a genius idea. Really genius because it's the new Paul Heyman era. He can use this show as a way to draw in a whole load of old eyes, essentially, that have lapsed away from the product that aren't watching anymore, bring them back in and put on a show that puts over new talent, creates an amazing storyline, and has a segment at the end that it will get people talking the following day and get people like, man, did you see Raw last night? You've got to watch it next week for X, Y, and Z. And I said to Piers, it's such a simple idea. What they don't want to do really is do what they did for Raw 25, which is here's nostalgia, but there's no reason for you to watch again next week.
Totally. Let's talk about that last segment, which was billed as a toast to Monday Night Raw. And you had all of the legends, Alicia Fox being a legend now.
Well, in fairness, this last segment was built, it was designed to be Austin, Flair, Hogan, and Michaels doing the toast of Raw. But I don't think Michaels actually did anything.
He was part of the DX. Oh, you mean in this segment?
This segment was it was advertised to be those four.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. It was just all of the legends who had been brought back at the top of the stage, and then Ric Flair came out, got an entrance, people wooed, wasn't allowed to say anything. Then Hulk Hogan came out.
He was
arguably allowed to say too much, where he just talked about Tampa, Florida.
What you gonna do? Hulkamania.
Love my memories.
With
the Hulkamaniacs.
And my country.
Anything specific? Any specific memories you've got?
Nope, Jack.
With the Tampa.
And what you gonna do, Jack?
Yeah.
Brother dude.
And then there was like a weird... I just thought it went on a bit too long.
Oh, totally.
But not just like that. There was then there was about 40 seconds where they all just stood on stage. And everyone was a bit confused and it looked a bit awkward. But then the freaking glass shattered and Stone Cold Steve Austin came out. Monster pop. He was... I'm speculating here, a little bit tanked already.
Oh, yeah?
He'd had a few buds, had a few Steve Weisers.
Well, he's got his own beer now.
Right.
So maybe he was having a couple of those, trying to hock it to the boys backstage. You want a beer?
Yeah.
And, got himself accidentally drunk that way.
It certainly seems that way because he went down to the ring and cut a brilliant rambling promo.
But it was just like, I was listening to this promo and I was like, he's the best promo in the company.
It's amazing.
This is the best promo we've had on Raw all year. It was absolutely brilliant.
So I read someone who compared it to Goldberg's promo when he came back, and it was so real, and he stumbled over his lines, and occasionally lost his way, and it was a bit rambling and all over the place, but the emotion was so genuine that it was one of the, like you said, one of the best promos of the year. Exactly the same here with Austin. I love this. He talked about he just listed fast food products.
Yes.
For about 2 minutes.
And then
it was awesome.
But then, he got some really good pops when he was like, I saw Ron Simmons in an elevator. We hugged for quite a while. And the crowd are going mental for it. He's literally just talking about, he saw a friend.
Yeah.
And the crowd are lapping it up. He's such a captivating star. There's a reason why he's the biggest star this industry has ever seen that's not named Hulk Hogan. There's a reason why. It's because he is a captivating man.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's in the ring and everyone else comes down. He even had this line where he said, all those people up on that stage, I used to journey with them, seeing them again. It is like a proper family reunion, not just this thing where colleagues hang out. We spent all the time together traveling around in that awful touring schedule. And then he said, and all of you people right here, you're also part of that family. And you watching at home, you're part of that family. And he said the WWE family. And I thought, why am I not reacting against that? Because WWE family, if anybody else said that in a WWE promo, I've been like, oh, that's hokey.
Yeah.
That's rubbish. And I'd naturally react against it, just like the WWE universe. But he was so good. I genuinely felt part of something sentimental there.
And actually, to your point, there was a moment as they were all walking down to the ring where Michael Cole said, Raw is an American tradition. And I was like, that is a horrendous line. Also, demonstrably not true, but it's a horrendous line. Actually, to your point, if Austin had said that, I'd be like, yeah, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I totally believe that every American thinks that Raw is an American tradition.
Yeah. And then everyone comes down to the ring. They share these beers, and there's about 3 minutes left on the episode.
I'm waiting for the big angle. When are the Undisputed Era coming?
And there was no big angle. The angle was that Austin just got a mic again.
So, how much time do we have left? 60 seconds. Okay, I was nervous. Do you want a beer?
Yeah. It was effective that he said I was nervous to come out here, and I asked Jonathan Coachman, and he said, just be yourself, man. And I was like, you are just being yourself, and that's what's so beautiful about this. And then he turns to Gerald Briscoe. He's got 40 seconds left at this point. He goes, hey, Gerald, remember when we were on a plane over South Africa and we did something that was probably illegal? And then he just turned and said, what's going on here? This is incredible television. But then, they just played his music again.
And the show just ended. My favourite moment of this whole thing, though, there was two really, really lovely moments, just sort of natural moments. And I think, Austin was just being himself and just genuinely enjoying where he was. And he's having a beer, with everyone. He's throwing beers to everyone. No one can catch them because no one's Steve Austin. And then he hugs Triple H and cracks the beer on his back, and they have a nice. He hugs Mark Henry, and then he's walking over to the turnbuckle to celebrate. But he didn't spot out the corner of his eye that Kevin Nash had approached him to also cheers and hug him. But Kevin Nash just sort of kept walking behind him, hoping that he would see him, and he never did. So Nash went, oh. Just turned and walked away. I felt so bad for him.
He was just trying to get in the
He
photo
was,
shots, so like he could put that round to get more money from independent dates, probably. So this that was a lovely piece of fan service, but you know what it felt like? It felt like the end of a show, not the end of an episode. It felt like, yep, it's been a great 25 years or whatever,
Yep.
but you know that's thanks for the run.
It's so short-sighted to just do a nostalgia show to pop one rating, because next week when the ratings aren't at that level again, you'll be like, well, now what do we do? So in another 6 months' time, they're like, do we do another nostalgia show again? We're like, yeah, I guess so. And housemate Simon was talking about this. He said the problem with these nostalgia shows is that it's the same nostalgic people that we saw at Raw 1000. Nostalgia has not moved on since Raw 1000, so it's the same names that just keep showing up time after time again, to the point where you're like, I don't care if Austin's come back again, because I've seen him thousands of times now.
That's it. Like the only name that WWE have created to nostalgia show level is John Cena.
John Cena, yeah.
But that's it in the last 10 years. Like, Alicia Fox and Caitlyn don't count.
No, despite the fact that Drew McIntyre was like, you're legends.
Yeah.
I don't think they are, mate.
But
I didn't even know who one of them was.
I always look back at Raw 1000 as the way to do this sort of format right.
On the money.
Because that was mostly a fan service show, and it was very fluffy, and I think it was 3 hours back before 3-hour shows were the norm, and nothing really happened. But at the end, CM Punk turned heel on The Rock. That is an enormous angle, and one that immediately makes me want to tune in next week to see the guy who just turned heel on Rock.
Your WWE champion at the time, no less,
Yeah.
as well. Like, that was like a really big angle, and it built to a match that paid off at the Royal Rumble the following year. So they were sowing seeds and also telling you, here's the story for the next 6 months. Like, this is, and the story is, I mean, it's a secondary story because we've probably got John Cena stuff that we need to do. But CM Punk as heel champion is where we're going now. And it was a big time angle. This was just like, what was your big time angle? Was it Bray Wyatt beating up Mick Foley?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I think it's going to get people being like, man, I need to tune in next week.
Yeah, totally. And that's why this really failed. If the idea was to turn around the overall viewership and ratings decline of Raw, then this would, like you said, a very short-sighted. This will only do 1 week.
Yeah.
You want to lay the foundations for future weeks. The only segment where you can argue that you did do that, where a legend was used to put over a new star, is Bray Wyatt as the Fiend. It was Mick Foley. He came out and he was going to introduce his favourite memory from Raw, which was, of course, when he won the title in 98, 99.
January 4th, 1999. I remember that date.
And all the lights turn off. The Fiend's there. He gives Mick the mandible claw. And then that's it. It was actually a very brief segment, and it felt quite fudged in. And it felt almost like an afterthought, like it didn't really matter. So the one segment where they did do it, I wasn't even that into.
If it had ended the show, or if it had been him doing it to Austin.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's a completely different thing. I mean, what's more baffling to me is you have someone who is currently doing the Stone Cold Steve Austin gimmick with Kevin Owens.
And he wasn't on the show.
And he's not on the show. Why do you not have Austin endorse Owens? Or I know there's an argument that you don't want those two guys together because it might expose how Owens isn't at that level yet. But there's so much you could have done here. It's not hard.
Could you imagine if it was Austin and Owens giving dual stunners to Vince and Shane?
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah, or
also it furthers the Kevin Owens Shane McMahon storyline because I think Owens has now challenged him to a match at SummerSlam, and he said he'll quit if he loses.
Yeah, so it's baffling that they didn't capitalize on this Raw reunion thing more. It already feels a bit too soon to me. After Raw 25 to have a show like this. There's going to be another one for SmackDown when it goes to Fox reportedly.
Yeah.
So it's overkill. But we'll get on with the rest of the show and the bits we didn't like or the few bits that we did really actually quite enjoy. But let's have some super chats with Randy Andy Datson.
We will, but first of all, you're Mark's biased WWE haters. Why can't you be positive? It was a gift to the fans. Stop bashing WWE.
Yeah, but it's just like for 1 week. And then next week, we're back to where we were. So what's it achieved?
Yeah.
A gift to the fans at this point would be engaging storylines week to week and overstars.
I'll try to explain it. Anyway, Tim Arndt starts off our super chats to say, Seth said that Moxley is trying to take food off his plate. Seth really shouldn't worry about that. His bank account will probably take care of it.
Why is Seth so focused on money right now? That, food off my table. Here's my bank account to Will Ospreay.
Food off my table is such a Vinceism as well. Proper Vinceism. And again, like we talked about this on the podcast, I don't think that Vince is feeding him lines to say. I just think that he's hung around with Vince so much that he's now just adopted Vinceisms.
Probably. Jobber JJ says, hi, boys. Thank God for the 24/7 championship.
It was great this week. Genuinely, apart from the Fiend, was my favourite thing on this show. It's like, and I admit, it highlights what a meaningless title it is, and what a joke title it is. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Although that Alundra Blaze thing was really weird.
I didn't mind that.
Well, no, it's just
I didn't recognise her.
Oh, she was one of the few women I did recognise. Like I've got so many question marks in my notes where I'm like, Kelly, question mark?
Oh, come on.
You know
Caitlyn?
Kelly. Caitlyn, I would have been not.
I thought, because when I believe
Candice,
Tori
Candice
showed...
Michelle's changed a lot.
Yeah, I didn't recognise her. When Tori was at the start of this show, I wrote down Kelly, question mark. And then when Kelly won the title later, I was like, oh, she wasn't wearing those clothes when I saw her earlier in the night. Maybe I didn't... Oh, I must have got someone mixed up.
All blonde women look the same to you.
Yeah.
In WWE, they certainly do.
Vernon Jeffries says, why can't Nicholas go after the 24/7 title right now? School doesn't open again until after Labor Day.
I think he was there at the show as well.
He was.
He was.
Yeah.
There's a WWE on YouTube clip interviewing him of what title he'll go for next.
Why didn't they do it? That would have been really funny.
Where was Hornswoggle?
He could have actually taken a bump. Yeah, where was Hornswoggle? Good question.
Sean Dunn says, Raw has a reunion, AEW has a union instead.
Well, that's a good line.
Nice.
Kevin says, I was wondering why Alicia Fox was on the stage with the Legends, but then I remembered she is a pioneer of the women's division, just like the Bellas.
Yeah, don't you forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun how in some shots she's standing at least 5 feet away from the next person, like as if even she knows something's not quite right here.
Am I supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't even announce it. They just put her on the poster and hoped no one would realise. But James McCall has 2 messages for us. Says, Austin's promo basically boiled down to, we're family, please don't stop watching. This doesn't make up for the fact that a lot of WWE is booked very badly and the product has suffered for it. Austin's pop proved that he's the most over star in WWE. Surely a current star should be more over than a legend, albeit the most successful of recent times. Build a star.
And you're absolutely right that the Legends pops were so much louder than the wrestlers who were doing wrestling. Sami Zayn and Rey Mysterio were wrestling to crickets until Rob Van Dam came out. And it's Sami Zayn.
Even Rob Van Dam's one wasn't as loud as like Ron Simmons, who just comes in and says, damn. Yeah.
I mean, it is good though, isn't it?
It is. I did enjoy it. Ryan B. Bad says, this as a nostalgia show was better than some of the others they have done, such as Raw 25.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this more than Raw 25.
There was no rambling Undertaker promo.
Yeah,
it wasn't spread across 2 different buildings.
But I would also say that my expectations were lower for this one. So I had very high expectations for Raw 25.
Well,
I
think Raw 1000 really should be the benchmark of how to do a nostalgia show.
Let's do 3 more for now. Will Adams says, Luke, I'm number 1 fan, sorry, says, I really want Drake Maverick to consummate his marriage already. He deserves it.
Well, R-Truth has his wife now.
Yeah.
She's my wife now.
You're my wife now, Dave.
Peeling back the curtain, he probably has already.
Hey, come on,
kayfabe, man. Kayfabe, Dave.
Sorry. Jesse Venable says, I'm going to Raw this week in Little Rock and also celebrating my daughter's 3rd birthday the Sunday prior. She always laughs when Luke Owen laughs.
Oh, that's nice.
You've got an infectious laugh.
That's very
like
kind.
an STD.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't tell her what that is. The Adnap2 says, just a reminder, Luke went on holiday and the ramble became about splashback. Ollie went on holiday and the ramble became a lovely time with the boys. It's got a
lovely time with the boys.
I love lovely time with the boys.
Anyway.
Is that just a you and Laurie thing? Can
think
it also be a lovely time with these boys?
Yeah, I think so.
I think someone said it in either an email or a super chat,
I think
and
it
then
was Jay Persona. I want to say it was
quite
him.
possibly, and then we just liked it so much that we continued it.
It is
Yeah,
good.
I think it's a much better name than WrestleRamble. It's just lovely time with the boys.
It's long. Like there is a character limit on the places we title these.
There are some
But, yeah.
times where we can't even call it WrestleRamble. We just call it WrestleTalk.
Yeah, maybe Screenstalker, Lovely Time with the Boys. That's the name. Oh, what a lovely opportunity to cheap plug Screenstalker, where Luke and I were talking all the Marvel Phase 4 announcements yesterday. I think I've already done this plug. But
Yep.
that's how good it is. I'm double plugging.
But we've got some great videos going up this week. I'm still trying to complete Castlevania, 30 years on, still haven't finished it. We've got Pete playing Mario Maker. We're playing WWE 2K19 with Steve here from Going In Raw. We've still got more matches from that we recorded, so they'll be going up this week.
Yeah.
And Guess That Pokemon with Val.
So go over and record that. I'll be on there on Wednesday and Friday as well, talking movies. So yeah, please give us a subscribe. We really want that to work because we like movies and video games. John Cena returned to kick off the show.
He did.
And he was so green. He was such a green, like not green in talent. He was
Yeah.
actually one of the best mic guys there, but he was very luminously green in his t-shirt and cap.
He does like a garish colour,
yeah.
does Cena. Well, I say he likes it. I think the marketing department like it.
You're not going to miss him on a bike at night time.
No.
So he comes out and he's effectively the compare. He's just, here's all the people who are going to be here tonight. Boy, I can't wait. It's weird that that is his character, but you'll never get The Rock or Steve Austin being the MC. They'll just do their own promo.
Rock did for WrestleMania that one year.
I guess so. I feel like it's different though.
But really, he was there to set up like the following year's main event. Like him being the host, quote unquote, of WrestleMania was a way to get him in the main event scene.
Anyway, Cena was interrupted by the Usos, who I would say veered on obnoxious this week.
That, yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Whoa.
We get it.
Whoa. And they did a rap segment, and I thought, oh my God, what a good idea. They're good rappers. John Cena is a, Grammy award-winning rapper. And they had...
He can say words.
Yeah, that rhyme.
Yeah, he says words that rhyme. He's very good at poetry.
And the words that rhymed were something about respect and then something about arrested.
Yeah, it's basically he said, like, you two look like your mugshots. I'm not here to get arrested. And I actually, it was a really good line. I think people really enjoy the nostalgia of the Doctor of Thugonomics. Not really my cup of tea, but I wasn't watching when he was doing that gimmick. But it was, I thought it was a fun segment. I thought it was really good. But then again, do you really want to be highlighting that some of your stars have been arrested when actually, 3/4 of the legends you've got here have been arrested as well? They've all got records. I mean, the guy in your main event has been arrested quite a lot of times.
Yeah. And I just don't think... It was a good line and
I
a
thought
good
it was great.
joke.
Yeah, good for insiders. I thought it was
But it is a family show, and I don't think you should... You could make adult jokes, but not glamorize or make light of drink driving, which I think is
that's a fair point, and it is abhorrent.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that it was an un-PG line.
The Usos brought out their dad, Rikishi, as a lovely surprise. And he came down to... He is their dad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's their dad, yeah.
Thank God.
And he was advertised.
Good. Yeah, and he came down, and he's just about to do the Too Cool dance.
Say yeah!
I was really looking forward to this, and when the Revival's music hit, I genuinely had... I was the worked reaction guy. I was like, oh, no! I wanted the Too Cool dance. The Revival came down with Devon Dudley.
Well, Bubba didn't want to go.
Yeah.
So...
But even if Bubba did come, like... The numbers don't add up. Who can you get? I guess you can't have Arn Anderson.
You could have had an 8-man of Cena, Rikishi, and the Usos versus the Revival and the Dudley Boys.
The Rikishi, the Usos and Rikishi perfectly gel together as a group. The Dudleys and the Revival don't. Like, why can't you just like Ric Flair? Make it a horseman thing.
But he's a babyface.
I guess so.
But anyway, it was. I thought this was going to be an 8-man tag because Cena was still out there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, we're going to get an 8-man tag match. That sounds great. And then when it came back, Jimmy Hart was backstage with Hogan and he was excited to be there. And Booker T's music hit and he came out for commentary. And then it cuts back to the ring and the Usos and Revival in the ring with Rikishi and Devon on the ring apron. So I was like, oh, okay, so it's just a 6-man
Yeah.
then. And then they got off the apron, and it was like, they're in the corners. And I'm like, oh, no, it's just a straight tag match.
And it was an okay tag match. There was a shrink screen ad break, so they didn't have to start the actual action. And Usos won after Dash got distracted by Rikishi and his dad, Devon, arguing on the outside. This is where the wheels started to go off a bit, because I think Rikishi, Cena, Usos, that is a good, thematically consistent use of using legends to get over new stars.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Devon walked out with the revival, I just thought, they're just throwing stuff at the wall.
And, I mean, they didn't even do the dance, did they?
No.
No. So
Yeah, they should have done that after the match.
Yeah. And this Usos revival feud, it feels like it's been going on for a while. And it just feels that the story they tell is that Usos pin them in non-title matches, and then the revival retain when it comes to a tag title match. It's not an engaging feud.
I mean, that's pretty much what the New Day and the Usos had.
But
But
they
they had really good matches.
Exactly.
In
They were
between.
having and the revival and the Usos could have amazing matches. But it feels like they're not having amazing matches, nor are they having amazing in-ring segments together. This should be a really big feud. It doesn't feel big time.
Yeah. Well, and they can do. I'm definitely sure they can have great in-ring segments and matches, but they're not booked to. After this, we got Alicia Fox talking about her new hat to Dana Brooke.
Yes. And that's what I've written. When she's with ... Caitlyn question mark.
Kate, of course it's Caitlyn.
I didn't recognise her.
Caitlyn
I
Distinctive.
didn't know who she is.
And then Tori Wilson walked in.
Oh, I've written Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really recognise Tori Wilson there. It took me a moment to go, oh, there is Tori Wilson. And then Santino shows up, and this was like off the back of the Devon thing. Yeah, they're just cramming names together. There's no rhyme or reason for this.
I did get a bit of a kick out of this, though, where she goes, oh, how's your sister? He's like, oh, she's a little bit under the weather. She won't be here today. Which I thought was cute. I thought it was a cute little line.
Drew McIntyre walked past them all and, did his Legends line, because Drew's angry.
He certainly
lot.
is.
Then we got Charlie Caruso interviewing R-Truth and Carmella, and they threw to the Comic-Con segment over the weekend where Hurricane tried to pin him and Drake Maverick tried to pin him. But then Drake's wife, Renee Michelle, damn it.
Renee Maverick.
There was a voice in my head saying, don't say young, don't say young, don't say young. Renee Young.
But I think there's a reason why her name in canon appears to be Drake's wife, Renee, as opposed to just calling her Renee, because Vince doesn't like to have two people on the roster with the same name because people will get confused. Kelly. So you just have to call Drake's wife Renee, or just Renee Maverick.
And that caused distraction for R-Truth to get rolled up by Drake and have her first 24/7 title change of the night.
Yeah, and Charlie was shocked and then literally stopped caring when she heard the Godfather's music. She was like, oh! And then went, oh, I couldn't care less. Hey, Godfather's here.
Her reacting to the title change, and then Godfather's music, which started to play. She was so goofy. It was very fun to see her act so badly. I got a kick out of it.
I love PG Godfather, where he doesn't have hoes anymore because it's a family show, so he's just a happy man.
Yeah.
That's his gimmick. He's a happy man.
Oh, yeah.
With a waistcoat.
Yeah. And he didn't even say Ho Train, did he?
Oh,
He's like, it's time to get aboard and then the crowd say it.
Ho! Train.
But he doesn't. Yeah. Happy Train. The happy train.
The nice time, lovely time with the boys.
Yeah. Then Renee, it goes, this just got me. Then it cuts back to the main arena. And do you know how the announcers awkwardly back reference what just happened? Renee Young just said in the flattest monotone, oh my, it's mayhem back there. Just wrote that down. Drew McIntyre was then out after grumpily calling those people legends, and he came out for a match against Cedric Alexander that never got started.
There's still no reaction to him. It's almost as if he should have won the first time, really.
Yeah.
It's almost as if having him be beat in his first attempt when he was meant to do the unmasking gimmick didn't get him over.
Yeah. I just don't... because I'm trying to explain WWE's thought process in my head. I genuinely think that angle where Cedric stood tall at the end of that tag match. And
After losing.
That's the visual people remember. Here, he didn't actually lose. It was just Drew beating him up before the match began, and then the match was called off. We protected him there. I think they might actually have a match at SummerSlam where Cedric loses, but Cedric doesn't look good because he's been made to look like crap for the last 3 months. And Drew doesn't look good because he's been beaten by this guy who's a jabroni.
Yeah.
So this is bad.
It isn't great. I would have much preferred we did Drew versus The Undertaker, which is what I thought we were building to.
Yeah. Then we got another 24/7 title segment. Drake Maverick was in the locker room trying to escape the arena, but the Boogeyman is there. Why?
Well, it's a reunion show.
Yeah. That's
okay.
the only
That's the
reason.
yeah.
And Pat Patterson.
Wonderful Pat Patterson.
Yeah, this was great. This was my favourite bit of the show. Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe.
Oh, loved it.
When Drake falls over off the back of seeing the Boogeyman, and Pat Patterson kicks him a little bit,
Yeah.
and then pins him with his foot on him.
Barely, because Pat can't take a bump or anything, which is why he lost the title sitting up.
Yeah, he's
And-
like 75 years old.
And it's fine. But it was a really funny visual, and because Pat's Pat, it was just tremendous. I thought this was really, really funny.
Yeah, I agree. Then what was quite sad. The Viking Raiders took on Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Christian was on commentary. Lillian Garcia's on ring announcing, which was quite good. You could hear them very, very clearly because there was no crowd reaction for any of this.
No, although I did mishear her. I thought she introduced Hawkins and Ryder as the tag team champions. I was like, mate, Lillian, come on, mate.
It's not past. She's got previous.
Yeah, but she announced them as former tag team champions.
So this match to me really exposed the difference between the current stars and the legends, and it was an uncomfortable difference.
Oh yeah,
because these guys should be much bigger than they are, especially the Viking Raiders.
yeah.
But there was crickets.
It was
from the crowd.
absolute cricket.
Then it wasn't good either when they went backstage to the Raw Reunion Lounge, which was just
They're having a party.
an office area done up, sure. And Mike
It was
Kanellis...
probably, I bet you it was Kurt Angle's party.
Yeah. And Mike Kanellis is talking to someone off camera, and it turns out to be Eve Torres.
Oh, good. Thank you for clarifying that, because I've written Eve, ?
And then Maria Kanellis walks in and starts screaming at him, "Where have you been?" And Eric Bischoff is revealed to have been talking to Mike as well. That's Bischoff's big return to WWE. And he's meant to be the executive director of SmackDown, starting from about now, really.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't how I would have done it.
But this isn't a return as an on-screen character. It was just he was there to get a nostalgia pop.
Yeah, but he's
a former Raw GM.
But he did say, well, you could always come over to SmackDown, which hints that he does have some control over there and some brand allegiances already. And, everyone, it's not like just us being internet marks and super fans. This is a largely announced thing on WWE's main Twitter account that Paul Heyman's heading up Raw, Eric Bischoff is heading up SmackDown. So you're playing with a lot. I know, but that's what they've announced. So you're playing with a lot of associations and charged feelings already. And it just made Eric look like an idiot, I thought. Because first of all, he's trying to coax Mike and Maria. Second of all, the brand split doesn't exist. There's the wild card rule. I thought it's not a huge problem, but I feel like you only get one go at reintroducing people after a long break.
Yeah,
and this was rubbish.
And I get that, but then Ron Simmons grabbed Jimmy Hart's microphone and said, "Damn!" So all's well that ends well.
I take it back. You're right.
Yeah.
And then California. AJ Styles.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson aren't just the club anymore. They're the original club.
Well, yes, they are. They're not even the original club. They're the OC, which stands for the original club, but their name is now the OC. I was stunned when housemate Simon said he really liked this. But then he did say it was my favourite TV show.
He said, I love AJ Styles. I love the OC. So this is perfect for me. I think he's trolling us.
Yeah.
I just it's not a big deal, right? But it's just one of those things that they've changed for no reason.
For the sake of changing it. And it's not better. Like, if it was a name change, you're like, oh, that's a cool name change. I can see why you did that. When it's the OC, it doesn't sound cool. It doesn't sound like it's a cool, badass heel name. So what was wrong with just calling them the Club?
Yeah. And I hear OC, and I just think of the mid-noughties teen drama on T4.
Terrible TV shows.
You're going to get heat for that. A lot of people...
Bring it on! It was a terrible TV show! Take off your rose-tinted glasses. It wasn't good at the time. It doesn't hold up now.
The egg from Risky Business. I don't love it, but a lot of people do, rather inexplicably. So it's,
how now is going to get heat.
So it's just, yeah, it's classic WWE. Oh, you want AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson back together? Fine. We're going to change their name, though.
Yeah.
Then we got... best segment of the night, apart from Stone Cold Steve Austin's promo. Pat Patterson is on the floor. You can only see his face. Yeah. He's looking up like he's just been beaten. And he says, "Oh, you stooge," which is such like I love 1930s gangster movies and film noirs and stuff like that. And I don't feel like Briscoe and Patterson have ever moved on from that. So it's just like stooge is just such an old.
It's such an insider term for wrestling that these two have now, because that's what they've referred to themselves at. So he just goes, "You stooge," and then it pans up to reveal Gerald Briscoe, which goes, "Takes one to know one," and it runs off with the title. I loved it.
It's crazy because we make fun of a lot of bad acting on WWE television, mostly from the women's division, unfortunately. And Gerald Briscoe is arguably worse than all of them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what he has that makes me like it, though. Is it the accent?
I think it's the accent. Like, back in the day when he used to come out and just cut those long promos like, "Mr. McMahon would like you all to stand up for Mr. McMahon." And we just, like, elongate that word to draw even more heat every time he said it. The guy's a genius. Yeah. The guy's brilliant.
So Patterson... so this is called a phantom title change. We never saw the title change hands... but it did. Yeah. Because neither man can take a bump. In kayfabe terms, they had a 6-star classic.
Oh, yeah.
Phoenix Splash to win.
And I'm thinking, if it's Pat Patterson versus Gerald Briscoe, it probably was a 6-star classic.
A lot of high spots. That was all they love, yeah.
Do you remember their bra and panties evening gown match that they had for the hardcore title?
Love it.
Wrestling classics.
And that's why this is so good, because the 24/7 title is so linked to the hardcore title, and they were a big part of the comedy side of that.
Genuinely, one of my favourite wrestling moments of all time is Gerald Briscoe pinning Crash Holly while he was sleeping to win the hardcore title. And actually, not only was everyone in that segment brilliant, from Crash to Jerry to the referee, Michael Cole was one of the best things that segment, because he, on commentary, is whispering, "Gerald Briscoe, Gerald Briscoe, I can't believe it, Gerald Briscoe," because he doesn't want to wake up Crash Holly either.
Yeah. But Patterson says, "You're a stooge." Briscoe's like, "No, you're a stooge," which is the worst comeback. And Briscoe walks around the corner, new 24/7 champ. Kelly's there to congratulate him. The fool! Because Kelly knees him in the groin, pins him. Kelly is the first ever lady person to hold the belt.
A belt that is probably more prestigious than the Divas title ever was.
Yeah. Which Brian Alvarez was quite angry about this. And
oh, come on, Brian.
No. There's nothing wrong with doing this. It's just Carmella should be the first women's champion.
Oh, yeah. Or Renee Maverick, yeah.
Yeah. So there's... I agree.
I can see that.
It means nothing, I agree.
I don't think anyone's going to care that they're the third.
No, but think of... It just leaves so much potential on the table where you have that Carmella turn. That could be a big, memorable joke moment. But that's gone now. Anyway, what I found weird about this was Kelly wins backstage, and her music plays as she walks off down the hall.
That's how I knew who it was.
Yeah. And her arms being up.
Yeah, and her arms being up, pointing at nothing.
Then we got Samoa Joe coming out to trash nostalgia.
Yeah, I think that he got given Sami Zayn's promo, and no one told him before he went out, and they were like, "Oh no, we need Sami to do this promo as well. There's 2 different versions of it now."
Or maybe Joe started reading the wrong bit. I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to tell him. You tell him." And Joe, like, he's so good. He's so intense. He starts to talk about the Usos. Roman Reigns comes down. They have a really intense face-to-face.
Yeah.
And quite a good brawl around the ring as well. I didn't really care for the actual match. Thought it was quite quick. It was the standard Roman template of being beaten down, one spear win. But, like, I actually quite wanted to see a SummerSlam feud out of these two.
Yeah,
Joe and Roman.
Yeah, we're now, 2-3 weeks out from SummerSlam. Where do you go with Roman for SummerSlam?
My concern is they do go with Joe Roman.
Oh.
But then why have Reigns just beat him clean here
To start the
after
feud.
being exactly, which is so WWE, but it's so backwards.
Yeah.
Because that could be a really good feud.
Mm-hmm.
The two
Yeah, no, I
Samoans.
agree. I thought it was really. I thought there was some good banter back and forth. I like them brawling. I think they're fun people to watch brawling. Joe is so good. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The match that followed was a bit sort of standard. You know, it was perfectly fine. But I really thought that the finish was cool, where Joe was getting back into the ring. But as he was getting back into the ring, Roman was already running at him to hit the spear. Genuinely felt like a spear from out of nowhere. I thought it was a really cool finish.
Miz TV was up after that, where he briefly promoted Miz and Mrs. and then brought out Rollins to talk about facing Lesnar at SummerSlam. Now, there was the whole Will Ospreay thing, and I was like, oh man, it's a shame, because I feel different about Rollins now, because he said some stupid things on Twitter, and I think he's come across quite badly with the whole bank account thing. And then he apologized, and I was like, oh, thank God, now I feel good about Rollins again. But then he had this 1-2 yesterday of the Dean Ambrose interview, where he just, buries John Moxley and is coming across like a stooge. And then here just was rubbish.
Yeah, I did like when he called Brock Lesnar a big Godzilla-looking bastard. But maybe that's just because he said Godzilla, and that's a way to pop me.
I was already past it by this point. He started to do like, oh, Brock Lesnar's I look like this and my face looks like this, and it's like, this is crap
bad comedy. Yeah.
And then, like, when he goes serious after Paul Heyman appears on the Titantron and comes out for a bit, Seth Rollins' kick mode into serious is Brock Lesnar isn't a beast, he's just a man, and that's why I can beat him. And I'm like, I have heard this story quite a few times already, and it wasn't that interesting then.
It's why they shouldn't have given Brock the Money in the Bank briefcase in the first place.
Yeah.
He was the wrong man to give it to at the time. He shouldn't really be Universal Champion now. He should be just in marquee matches that are just there to, sell a buy rate. He shouldn't be in these sort of main event pictures, because it just stifles the main event picture. Because it turns out they've only got one story they can tell, and they've just told it with different people.
Yeah.
And it is a bit tiresome now.
I think it's a real misstep to have Rollins and Lesnar.
He has to win at SummerSlam. There's no way Lesnar wins.
After this, it's back in the Raw reunion room, where Charlie Caruso's talking to a few people, but then Sami Zayn interrupts her and says, all these people are rubbish. Did the Samoa Joe promo about nostalgia, and Rey Mysterio stands up for them all. And then Kurt Angle makes a match. And I just got flashbacks to Kurt Angle's awful general manager run.
I mean, he even referenced it. He wasn't Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. He was Raw GM Kurt Angle. Simon said earlier, he goes, why was everyone in their gear apart from Kurt Angle? I was like, no, he was. He was in his GM gear.
Yeah.
When you select him in 2K19, like, you selected GM mode Kurt Angle.
So Kurt Angle says, the way we sorted out when I was general manager was you settle it in the ring. I was like, really? Is that the defining part of your tenure?
No, the defining part of his tenure is, it's happening, it's happening.
And he slept around. Then we got Kelly celebrating backstage into...
With ... Caitlyn?
Candice Michelle.
Oh, okay, thank you, sorry.
I didn't recognise her.
No.
I didn't know who this was.
I did recognise Melina, though.
Yep, that was a good surprise. She was a special guest referee.
That was a wonderful reveal as well. Of just sort of like, she goes, oh, I've got my license. What license that? She takes off. She undoes her shirt to reveal she's wearing a referee's thing. And then it's like, what? I thought this was some decent comedy. I don't know why Naomi was there, but I thought it was some decent comedy.
I forgot she was in this segment. So Candice Michelle won the 24/7 title. Then Alundra Blaze, Medusa turns up and just sort of doesn't even pin anyone, just takes the belt.
No, she tapped her out.
Oh, did she?
So she got
her in a headlock.
She got like in a chokehold. She goes, she's going to tap, she's going to tap, she's going to tap. Yeah. And then she tapped. And then she said, and this was the line that this is why I didn't particularly like it, she was like, I'm not going to be champ for very long. And I'm like, huh? it made sense. Like if she hadn't said anything and then gone out to do the gimmick later, it just seemed like a really weird thing. Like when you win the title, you go like, well, I'm not going to be champ for very long.
I got what they were going to do as soon as she said that.
Do you know what? I should have seen it coming because really the only person in the world that still cares about Medusa putting the title in the trash can is Vince.
Yeah, I think Vince probably ranks that above Shane Douglas and the ECW
probably
in terms of importance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Then we got Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. Holy moly, I thought. This is actually, out of nowhere, a dream match I didn't know I dreamt about. Because Sami Zayn, trained by El Generico, big lucha influence,
Okay, yeah, fair
taking
enough.
on Rey Mysterio. I was like, I can't remember seeing this, and I thought, I really hope they get a decent amount of time there. But it was nothing. It was, and Coachman was on commentary. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't
actually.
bad.
I
Neither was
quite
Booker.
enjoyed him.
Booker was very good with his noises every now and again.
But this was one of the more egregious examples of
Good word use.
just chucking people in there because Raw reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Where Sami Zayn tries to walk off from the match, but RVD turns up. And I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense because they all do flip-to-dos. And then Sergeant Slaughter walked out. I thought, well, that makes less sense.
Yeah.
And then the Hurricane walked out. I was like, you lost me now.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Angle walks out. I was like, well, I guess he was in the segment previously.
And it was just, there's a photo on WWE.com, and I'm like, a superhero, a stoner, an Olympic gold medalist, and a character from G.I. Joe. Wrestling's weird.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird, wacky world professional wrestling is. Because they're just standing in a row, and we all go, yeah, okay.
It's like, yeah.
If you'd have done that on a sitcom, you were like, it's a bit weird, this.
It's like if WWE sold all their intellectual property and had to scramble together an Avengers team based on who they had just lying around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that made Sammy run back into the ring, got hit by a 619. I've written a 3.25 star frog splash.
Nice.
'Cause I didn't think it was very good.
No.
For the win.
Yeah. Can I give a quick zing moment?
Zinger.
So Corey said at the top of this match, oh man, when was the last time a title changed hands like this? When was the last time a title changed hands in 6 times in one night, let alone 1 week, let alone one night? And I've written here, probably the WCW World Heavyweight Championship in 2000.
Whoa.
Zing! Take
Nice.
that, Vince Russo.
Ric Flair arrives in a
It's all in the
limo.
delivery.
Did you know Raw was the most social show last week?
Cool.
Then
That
we-
transfers into lots of money
Then we
and
got
ratings.
my favourite serious bit of the whole show, and it included not one legend. It was the Street Profits. Montez Ford
Yes.
was backstage sort of like putting eye drops in his
No,
eye.
Angelo Dawkins was putting the eye drops in his eyes.
Crap.
Is that what you said in the review?
No, I was right. I just mixed it up there, actually. Angelo Dawkins was taking the eye drops, if you mistook that. And the hint was that he was smoking weed with RVD.
Well, he said, I walked into a bathroom and RVD was there, and that's why he had to put the eye drops in, which I thought was a really funny line.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think I'm being double standard when I say that's okay and joking about the DUIs
No.
isn't.
Well, I mean, I think having a joint in a bathroom likely won't run someone over.
Yes. So I'm consistent in my morals there.
Yes.
But I thought this was really good. I know you've been banging on about Montez Ford forever. Good grief. He just oozes charisma, but a rock-style charisma.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
I
All
was-
aboard the Ford train.
I was very impressed. I thought these two were fantastic together. It was very funny. It was very watchable. And they're obviously one of Paul Heyman's pet projects.
Yeah.
I think them two, Ricochet. So you'd hope that they're protected because they could be something special. And Luke said it forever, so I'm just stealing your opinion here. Ford could be something genuinely quite big.
He could be massive.
Then Alundra Blaze comes out to put the 24/7 title in the bin.
No reaction to her music whatsoever because I'd argue people know her as Medusa. Like if you'd have played Medusa's music, I don't know, but like I don't think anyone remembers that she was Alundra Blaze.
Yeah. And then so this was the old WCW angle where she did it on Nitro, persuaded to by Eric Bischoff. And then the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, stopped her
Money.
using the proper music
Great music.
to buy the championship belt from her.
Yeah. And he came out and goes, everyone's got a price.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So so obviously, famously, that when he bought the title off of Andre, Jack Tunney overturned that decision because you can't buy title belts. So I don't know. Maybe we've got a little bit of an argument for Drake Maverick here.
Still to have the belt.
Should be Alundra Blazers still. Then we got a Fiend flash frame coming out of the break, which I quite liked.
Yeah, it's cool.
Then it was AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins with Jerry Lawler on commentary. The OC were out in strength.
Jerry Lawler, I would argue, was the worst of the guest commentators because he was the one who hadn't done any research before going out on who anyone was or what any of the storylines are.
Yeah.
This is great. This is basically all he said was.
I mean, that doesn't really differentiate him from his actual full-time run in the last 10 years of his
totally.
company. So this was another match that really could have been great. And I don't begrudge them for this. I thought it was actually quite a well-handled segment because I don't want AJ Seth now. I think you hold that off.
We've already had it this year. We had it at Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but AJ's heel now. He's got the United States title. I feel like the dynamics are different.
Fair enough.
So I would prefer you save that proper singles match for a proper pay-per-view that you can build up.
Particularly as well, because I don't think I'm going out on a limb here or anything, but I think Seth versus AJ at Money in the Bank is the best WWE main roster match of 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, 205
Certainly
Live.
according to Dave Meltzer's star ratings.
Ah.
There you go.
What about Jack Gallagher versus Chad Gable?
That's not main roster.
What, 205 Live? But this
Barely a product.
This was all a backdrop, really, that the in-ring action couldn't get going because Gallows and Anderson interfere. Triple H and Shawn Michaels walk down, and they're in Seth's corner.
I also point out as well they did the fake restart of the match as well for the ad break purposes.
And there's a bit where the OC caused the DQ, and there's a bit where the OC, I can't believe I'm saying this so much, are going to do a 2-sweet with DX.
Yeah.
But then DX turn it into the suck it. There's a bit of a brawl. Babyface's clear house.
And I was like, oh man, we're going to get a 6-man tag. Maybe this will be Shawn's last match.
Yeah.
And like he was so embarrassed by the Undertaker match, quite rightly so, that they want to have this really fun 6-man where he can put over some new people and we'll have some really fun. No, it was just a way to put themselves over and just be like, we're the architects of the Attitude Era, too sweet each other.
Because then out came
It's my perfect Shawn Michaels impersonation.
Then out came all of DX. Well, the Clique, actually.
Yeah.
So Road Dogg, Road Dogg, X-Pac, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. They said that Road Dogg was really good in this segment. He said he was counting everyone, and he said, and China's Spirit makes that 7, I think. Ah, damn it, I forgot Billy.
Yeah, it was funny.
I was just like, I'm really glad they had that in there
because
it would have just been insulting to us if they just skirted over that fact.
Totally, yeah.
But then, they all posed in the ring and embraced Seth Rollins. Such a shame because reportedly that was originally meant for Ricochet. That would have been a huge endorsement for the guy. Seth doesn't need it.
Doesn't really feel like an endorsement for. I mean, it doesn't feel like an endorsement for anyone. Even if it was Ricochet, I think it would. Like, we're not going to talk about it the following week.
No,
we didn't talk about them doing it for Balor and the Club, like at Raw 25. It would have just been, what a moment.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But it was worse with Seth.
Have you seen the picture that's doing the rounds that someone captured? And it's of the Clique hugging, but Seth's on the outside looking in.
Oh, really?
I'm going to find it for you now because it really does feel like, oh, guys, can I join in?
But what's really interesting here is that AJ Styles is mouthing off to them as he's exiting. And it's really Shawn Michaels and AJ who are going at it the most.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels is following AJ round the perimeter of the ring as AJ's walking off. That's a great picture. And AJ says, I know where NXT is. Don't think I won't come down there. And maybe, I mean, we've all said Michaels AJ is one of those dream matches. And NXT, by all accounts, might be going on FS1 on Wednesdays.
That's true, yeah. Do AJ Michaels on the first NXT show.
The plan, like Meltzer said, the plan absolutely is to use main roster talent on those shows to combat against AEW's likely Wednesday time slot as well. And yeah, a club, an OC invasion of NXT, where they go against NXT authority figure Shawn Michaels. You've got the Undisputed...
But, you know, yeah,
well,
I
you
see
make
what
him
you're
one.
saying.
You
Yeah,
make
you
him
make him
one.
one, yeah.
The Undisputed Era are down there as well. I mean, that's a ballsy, genuinely threatening move to AEW. Like, me as a fan, I'd probably watch NXT over AEW.
A show for marks?
I know. That could be the only thing that makes me watch main roster talent.
And if that is the case, because I didn't pick up on this at all. It was only until you said it when we came in the office. I didn't hear AJ say it. If that is the storyline they're going with, I am all in.
Oh, it's a fantastic idea.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, if you were to, because they clearly are worried about AEW. They can pretend we're not, but they are. And combating AEW with NXT, I think is quite a smart move. And as Meltzer pointed out at The Observer, even if they just siphon 10% away, that's a win. And that's a great win, really. And then on your first show, you advertise something like AJ versus Michaels, first time ever, to combat against AEW's debut show. That's huge.
Yeah, potentially really big. Then we're backstage. It's 24/7 time again because the $1 Million Man's getting into his limo. He can't take a bump either. This was a smart title
I thought
change.
this was funny.
There's a scuffle inside. Camera's shaking. Don't know why the camera would be shaking because it should just be the limo. It's like Star Trek.
They're huge, larger-than-life people.
Drake Maverick.
Yeah, exactly. So when they wrestle, the car shakes. Like the camera shakes. The world shakes.
And Drake walks out the other side, now the 24/7 champion again, and he's chased off by the undercard. Then we got Mick Foley. We've already talked about it. There's not much more to add. Mick Foley's in the ring, and he's attacked by the Fiend.
I thought it was cool. I thought the Fiend is awesome. I thought it was... And this felt like the only time that the crowd were reacting to a current main roster star.
Yeah.
Apart that's not Roman Reigns. So, for my money, this completely worked. I thought this was a really, really cool segment. I thought the Fiend looked awesome off the back of it. I kind of hope that he's not going to start using the mandible claw as a finisher because I've always thought that's a bit rubbish. I just prefer him to use Sister Abigail, but I'd imagine Foley can't take the big bumps, so it's just safer to give him the claw and take him out that way. I mean, I've written in all caps, best thing on the show.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's good to see the Fiend there. I felt like you could make a bigger deal out of the Fiend on a show like this.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, like if you'd have done this to Austin at the end, like that would have felt like a really, really big deal. Especially like that would have been your closing angle, like your closing moment of the show is the Fiend taking out Steve Austin with all of the legends on the outside too scared to get in the ring and face him down. And that would have been like a great ending to the show.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Steve glass half full approach. It was better than the segment that came next.
Oh, I can't believe I'm going to bat for a Moment of Bliss segment. So Moment of Bliss was next. Alexa and Nikki are sort of co-hosts with their stupid coffee cups and good God, I hate their act. And Becky Lynch is the guest. And Natalya comes out immediately and just stands there. And they just sort of go back and forth.
Terrible acting from Natty.
Yes, Natty is no good. But Becky Lynch is so good, I feel like she made Natty look okay. And I actually somehow got into this feud a little bit because Lynch was so fiery.
Mm-hmm. I just think that Lynch needs an actual contender for her title for a change. Like, she has gone from Ronda Rousey and Charlotte and Asuka to Lacey Evans for 3 months and now Natalya, who hasn't been featured since she had a match with Ruby Riott where her dad's face was on a table. Like, it's hard to take this feud seriously.
There's Alexa Bliss in there as well. Oh no, she was feuding with Bayley.
Yeah, I know. I can see how it would be confusing.
All the blonde women again. I can't. I just see blonde women. But they brawl and they're both separated.
Is this the first? I mean, maybe I've just missed this. But is this the first we've seen Lady Ref from NXT on the main roster? Because she was there breaking things up.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Wow. Raw reunion. And Natalya tells Caruso backstage that she'll win at SummerSlam.
This promo was, I would say, 60 seconds long, and Natalya got through it in 15. She was rattling through these words to the point where I was like, I couldn't keep up with like taking notes, and I'm like, I have no idea what she said at the end of it.
Sometimes people confuse, can you act better with talking faster?
Oh, it's the George Lucas direction.
Yes.
Faster and more intense.
So then Drake Maverick is getting into a limo to escape Raw with his wife. He says, I love you. but then Truth rolls him up.
But it was so good
pins
because
him.
he was holding on
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Renee. Almost like a no, like real big comedic thing, and then she eventually, like, her hand slipped and he got rolled up, and then Truth dives into the limo and just starts shouting "drive" and kidnapped Drake Maverick's wife. Again, not sure how he's the babyface. He's now got kidnapping on his list of crimes against Drake.
I'm sure that'll be completely dropped
totally.
and never mentioned again.
Never mentioned again.
The schoolboy roll up is so devastating in this division.
Oh, the 24, you cannot kick out of it.
And then Braun Strowman beat a jobber.
Yep.
And then we got the Toast of Raw segment that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
That's your Raw.
Way to continue the momentum of Braun beating Bobby Lashley in that Falls Count Anywhere match, or Last Man Standing match, rather, at Extreme Rules.
I'm all for squash matches. I'm all for enhancement talent, especially for acts like Strowman. And even, I guess you could make the argument, yeah, but that was his gimmick 2 years ago. It feels like a step backwards. I wouldn't mind stuff like this on other shows. But on the Raw Reunion show, he should be doing something with a legend.
Considering that we just saw this with the Viking Raiders earlier in the show as well. I mean, you can call Hawkins and Ryder what you want, but they are jobbers at this point.
Well, overall, I gave it an average because I actually enjoyed superficially enjoyed it.
Yeah, I superficially enjoyed it, but I think if I was to take a critical eye upon it, I didn't think it was very good. It didn't further anything. Bearing in mind we're in the run up to SummerSlam now. We built nothing for SummerSlam on this show.
3 weeks away.
Yeah, it built nothing for that. And so in that case, I thought it was a bit of a disappointment. But for me, it's a missed opportunity. And I think that's why I'm looking at it more negatively than I would do a normal Raw. It's just, you could have done something huge here, and you chose not to for literally no reason.
Yeah. Well, let's get over to your super chat.
Yes, we will. Nia Jax and what's her face from the Australian girl in NXT UK.
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley are the two main choices, it seems, that people think will take the belt off Becky.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Jax will be out for another 6 months, though, at least. Graham Scrivener says, I read the results of Reunion. I expected an angle like a Batista one on Flair this year, but it's not their style. Also, the G1 climax rules.
It's just been so good.
It's tough to watch G1 matches and then watch WWE.
Man, I like that. I mean, I know I've raved about it a lot on these past few shows. But Moxley Ishii, holy heckins, it was something special. So great.
You see that Meltzer called Okada Ospreay one of the best matches he's ever seen.
What, Dave Meltzer like an Okada match?
I know.
Colour me surprised.
I know. Crazy.
It's almost like he's one of the best wrestlers in the world or something.
Nah.
And so is Will Ospreay.
Needs a new finisher. Jonathan Hedman.
That actually is very true.
He does. Jonathan Hedman says, nail on the head, and next week will be the All Heyman show.
Will it?
I haven't been that impressed with the Heyman run.
Well, nothing's
I've gotta
felt
be
different.
honest. Yeah. Like, it seems like he's got a few projects, and that's it.
We'll be waiting 6 weeks. There'll be a good show and go, oh, Heyman's clearly started.
Now,
isn't he?
finally, the changes are being made.
Jaden Rodriguez says, is it me or is mean Charlie Caruso hot? Fire emoji.
She's an attractive lady. Yeah.
Message retracted. Thank you for your generous donation.
Thank
you.
Abram Penner says, there needs to be a gif of Roman looking at his hand and have it captioned when you're finally home alone. Good morning and have an awesome day.
Is that this one?
No, I
Where
think he just does this. Like, he literally just like has his hand up in the air and looks at it because he's like, I'm going to cock you.
Yeah. Gonna cock you.
That's an unusual way of saying it.
That's his new T-shirt, by the way. Roman Reigns, the big dog. I'm going to cock you.
Gonna sign off all his promos, and the big dog's gonna cock you in the yard.
Wilson Simons says, KO and Austin stunner the McMahons. Austin looks at KO, but he stunners Austin. Torch passed.
Yeah, I mean, you want him to... Well, I guess that could be a badass tweener thing. I like that,
Yeah.
Can't Sleep Guy says, I can't wait for the WrestleTalk reunion ramble in a few years. Much love from Ontario, Canada.
Nobody ever leaves.
Yeah.
So
I
it'll
like-
always be the same.
I was going to say, like the Raw reunion episodes, it will just be the same people showing up year after year.
Less hair, though.
Yeah.
Mrs. S, January the 4th is my birthday. Thanks, Mick.
Cool.
Cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
happy birthday for
January 4th.
Quite a long way away.
Yeah. We'll go with the previous one.
Marcus Roman says, off topic here, I am digging the Gizmo Duck shirt.
Thanks, mate. This was a present from one of our pledge hammers, Chris Jenkins. Thank you very much.
Tom Gurran says the Fiend should have attacked Austin at the end.
Yeah,
totally.
that would have been good.
Yeah.
Wilson Simon says surprised Santino didn't win the 24/7 championship or at least do the Cobra.
Yeah. That would have been good. Santino's such a good comedic performer.
Yeah.
And he looked exactly the same as he did when he left. He had a really good match last week, apparently. Maddog_1992 says Biscoff trying to get people to jump to SmackDown.
Yeah, but he's picked Mike Bennett.
No. He picked Maria Kanellis. He didn't pick Mike, did he?
I don't know. Don't they come as a pair?
Yeah, I said my piece on Biscoffy.
Blazing Inferno 115 says I miss Ollie doing the Omni Shane.
Yeah, there was no Shane McMahon on this show.
That's 2 weeks running now. He's not been on Raw.
Wow,
Ridiculous.
miss him.
J2 Jorgito El Rey.
No Baron on this show either.
I miss him too.
Was he on last week's show?
They're the
yes,
same
he was in the
person,
Battle Royal,
remember?
wasn't he?
Maybe they're on holiday together. J2 Jorgito El Rey says, I was at the show last night, not exactly sure what I was watching. Street Profits are one of the best segments last night. Long-term plans for them?
Well, the rumor and innuendo is that they're not allowed to be any main roster stars, and Paul Heyman doesn't want them to lose on TV, so that's why they're just doing backstage skits.
Yeah, Vince doesn't want them to beat anyone.
What? Oh my God, they're doomed.
Yeah.
Well,
they can't beat anyone.
Not until they officially get called up, and then they can beat people.
Yeah,
but they can't beat them while they're NXT.
Then they
guys.
can beat Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder in 3 minutes.
They once did this on an episode of Raw to promote an NXT pay-per-view. Like it was one of their early days of takeovers. So to promote it, they had Charlotte Flair appear on Raw as their NXT Women's Champion, and then Natalya beat her. And then they were like, buy the pay-per-view. It's like, okay.
The street experience coming soon. Brandon Lozada says, can my girlfriend get a shout out for being awesome? Her name is Lizzie. We love you guys. Love the shirt. Ollie.
Oh, thank you very much
Good shirt,
for
mate.
loving the show and the shirt.
Yeah.
And
Lizzie was the name.
congratulations, Lizzie.
on
You're awesome.
being awesome.
On your university stuff.
What?
Just doing a wrong shout-out.
Oh, okay. Aaron says
Muzzle tough.
WWE was the only
Hoppa.
reason refrained from cutting the cord. Cut it after WrestleMania. No regrets.
Okay, so that's a process in America whereby people stop having cable, cutting the cord.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he was holding out, I presume, after WrestleMania, but now he has.
Yeah.
Oh. Daniel Cruz says, I was more excited about the WrestleRamble review than the actual Raw reunion. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I was genuinely excited to watch Raw today.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was as well. Only because, and perhaps this is more for me, I thought they would do something big.
Same.
Yeah.
The Blind Gooner says, WWE should stop bringing back legends. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't. They should use them more effectively.
And not all at the same time.
But then how can you have the biggest reunion ever, Andy?
That's true. How many was it? 40?
I don't know.
They'll do a 50-man battle royal next. KJ says, Alundra Blaze should have trashed the women tag titles where they belong.
Yeah. Funny.
Are we getting, do you reckon we're going to get Kabuki against
The Iconics.
SummerSlam?
Oh, we got it last week.
Kabuki against Alicia Fox and Caitlyn.
Caitlyn Stark.
Yeah.
Ominous Jack says, do the Rikishi boogie, son.
Do the.
Do it.
Down, 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 down.
It's my white guy dancing.
Wow, that was really good, guys.
Nailed
Maximum
Be
effort.
visual.
brilliant
Jer
on the
Personen
podcast.
says, I love Ollie's shirt. Look at that dude. Lovely. Hashtag lovely time with the boys.
Oh, it's a wet shirt now, though.
Yeah.
Mine too. I'm going to the... guess where I'm going, Luke? Later, Luke.
Cricket.
I am going to the cricket. Well done.
brilliant.
There's
Oh,
literal...
mate, there is, yeah.
It's damp. I don't know if you can see. It's where my own stomach has dripped.
How's your back?
My back's
armpits.
pretty bad. I mean, it's because I'm wearing a black T-shirt. Doesn't show up as much.
More my butt because this seat's quite warm.
Brag.
Gross.
Nicholas Belgraf says, just keep up the great work, boys. Love you, Ollie, Luke, Laurie, Pete, and Simon.
It's everyone.
We need more rambles. Thanks, Nicholas.
Thank you very much.
You suck. The Blind Gooner says WWE should drop the PG rating.
No, I don't agree.
No, NXT's PG and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
ODF Gaming says this was a reunion, hands down, free super chat.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
it was
this
a
is our
reunion.
because we haven't done this together for a while. So this is a Raw reunion of sorts.
Yeah.
Laramie Eschnauer says, which is a wonderful name, says, this week I realise Weezer should be named WWEezer because they used to be great, but now, sad face. What's your favourite song by them? Mine is Undone, but tired of S3X isn't far behind.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm off topic.
El Scorchio is my favourite. El Scorchio off Pinkerton.
Yeah, it's Surfboard Wax is where I would go.
Surfboard, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what the actual title is, but is it just called Surfboard Wax?
Go surfing.
I know one of her songs, so I'm not going to go for it.
It's great. Listen to the Blue Album, it's
Pad
flawless.
McGee says, since when was a schoolboy an undefeatable pin?
Since the 24/7 title came into effect.
Caution G-Styles says, can't see my first super chat. I'm sorry, I don't know what to say to that. I haven't read it out, so...
It's quite an existential statement.
Yeah.
Because we can see it. I'm very confused.
No, because he sent one earlier, apparently, but it hasn't popped up. So
Okay.
We're sorry about that, Caution
Very
G-Style. You have a cool name. Skin Trade says, hi guys, it wasn't crickets in the venue. They were cicadas. It was Florida after all.
Is that a local bug joke?
Local bug jokes.
Local bug joke. It's great to be here with your local bugs.
Cicadas are about 3 times as loud as crickets, and they are horrible.
Well, in which case, then, if they're 3 times as loud, it was definitely crickets.
Yeah. Tim Arndt says, did you hear Christian's subtle shot at Edge? When asked who was better out of himself and Edge, he said, well, which one of us is on this show?
That's just a subtle dig. It's just he was making a joke that he was there.
Edge has better things to do.
That's banter.
It's banter, yeah.
Matthew Burlage, thank you for your donation. Kailash Chowdhury says, Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT Survivor Series, what's your team?
Oh, it's too big a question.
Yeah.
Especially because there's no distinctive
Just do a
split between
just do a
Raw and
leader for each
SmackDown.
team.
AJ Styles. What brand he on?
Raw.
Yeah, heel AJ Styles.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Oof,
Yeah.
nice.
Well, said the same thing. Laramie Eschnauer says, also I found out I went to the same high school as Kevin Kelly. So that's cool. And Ollie, I'm with you. Walking isn't exercise. Also, Andy, I'm still working on getting you that Switch. And Andy, she told me he or she has told me
You're getting catfished.
they are going to get me a Nintendo Switch.
Are they going to send you nudes
So
as well?
if they do that, that's amazing. But if they don't,
They're dead to you.
that's fine. That's fine as well, because I would never expect it from anyone.
And yet, that is also, more importantly, more evidence that Podswafters are listening to the Super Chats.
Yeah.
What was the evidence, sorry?
Well, but they're talking about the walking exercise.
Oh, yeah,
That's
of
a
course,
podcast.
yes. W, thank you for your donation.
Andy
The
only
Mega
focused on the bit that's about him.
The Mega Arcade. I don't get a lot of focus, you know. The Mega Arcade says, notice how during the Bray segments, all the electricity cuts out except for the commentary teams. How convenient. Commentary ruins the atmosphere.
I think it's not the electricity, it's the lights go out.
I just love how they're surprised every time. Like, what's happening?
Michael Cole does, like, he's probably got some head trauma because he is constantly, what was that? The thing you've been promoting through the show. Why, how do you still not know what Bray Wyatt's Fiend is?
When Andy was watching it again in the office, I did think it was a really cool segment that was made lame by Michael Cole.
Well, no, because Corey Graves goes, oh, the electricity's cut out.
What were the violins in last week?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I think
I don't know if I
think
enjoyed
they came
those
in
this
earlier
week.
this week, and they were later last week. Jose Garcia, thank you for your donation.
Thank
Josh
you.
Burke
Thank you.
says they should have taken some time and had Paul out cutting a promo, then bring Eric out and set up a feud between Raw and SmackDown. What do you think?
That would make them on-screen authority figures, surely.
That's true.
And with the authority.
Jeppersonnen, Luke says the OC was my favourite show.
And
course
you
it was.
have terrible taste in television.
Although not hashtag lovely time with the boys, so.
California.
Graham Scrivener says G1 Climax, is Kenta going to turn heel after being booed?
He's already halfway there.
I don't think he's felt like a mega baby face.
He's unbeaten. He's won everything. So.
Yeah.
John Jones,
He's
not
a
that.
former WWE guy. Got to get him over.
John Jones, not that one, says, "Hey all, great channel and content. My question is, what was the hope for the Keith Apicary guy? I didn't really get it, and I wanted to. #librarians.
Thank you very much. I find Keith Apicary absolutely hilarious.
He is hilarious.
I'm a really big fan of his style of physical comedy. I think he's semi-genius, and I wanted to use him on the channel, but I didn't realize how niche it was.
Yeah.
So that it sort of
Yeah.
it didn't go down the way I wanted it to.
But check him out because he's still very good." Dan from Pensacola, Florida says, "Went to a house show Sunday. Main event was a triple threat with Kofi, Joe, and Orton. During Kofi's intro, he pelted Orton and Joe with pancakes. Joe's mean mug with a pancake sliding off it is priceless."
That's a good visual. I
Yeah.
hope that happens on SmackDown.
Well, no, because we're getting what's Smackville? Is that
Smackville with
the main event triple threat of Kofi, Dolph, and Joe for the title? Mouth watering.
Smackville, stupid name.
Sounds like a heroin-addicted town.
It does.
Gonna go down to Smackville.
It sounds like the title of a Louis Theroux documentary.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like the cartoon place in a WWE cartoon. There you go.
Yeah.
I've really explained that one well. Good one to me. Sean Turner says, "I hate the reunion so much. I now hate Seth. They ruined the club. Becky is losing her hype. She hasn't had a pop louder than that invasion. #save us AEW."
Yeah, I mean that's all stuff we've been saying for forever. It's
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that it hit you all at the same time though.
No, mate, you're wrong. 'Cause Becky's not losing any of her momentum. She's still well over.
Yeah.
Ben Greenwood, who's rubbish at predicting on time, says, "I missed the start of the stream, so I don't know if it was mentioned, but I feel like Stone Cold Steve Austin's promo was a rebuttal to people who have an issue with the product."
No, I don't think at
No,
all.
I don't think it was-
no, it was just
no.
him being quite genuine from the heart.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares anything
No.
for the larger. He freaking interviewed Tony Khan
Yeah.
a month ago.
Yeah. Judas Black says, "Where was Orton and Kofi? Lacey, they're on Smack. They should be on SmackDown. Lacey is still over Becky."
I guess they were just on SmackDown. There were quite enough people on Raw.
Yeah.
Jet 2012 says, "Rollins should get advice from the man on tweeting."
Yeah. She should just manage his Twitter account. Actually,
Sean Turner says, "Seth is becoming the before cancer Roman Reigns."
but that's not. It sounds offensive, but
Yeah,
it's
but
not
it's not,
actually
yeah.
offensive.
Yeah.
It's just saying,
But I think Roman's the same person he was before and after.
oh, maybe he's saying, maybe that's just poorly written. I think that can be interpreted as the reaction to, like, Seth is now getting negative heat, like, go away heat.
Overpushed.
Yeah, overpushed.
Norris Campbell, great name, says, "Hi lads, I'm back to super chatting. We'll watch after work. After last night's show, what drastic changes would you make after last night's Raw? #Kelly247.
I'd push people.
Yeah, use legends to get over your actual stars who are there week to week.
And then he says, "Andy, I hope my emailed answered questions." That was the email explaining why he was watching us under his desk. And it explained absolutely everything. So thank you very much, Norris.
Kinky.
Nate dropped surname says, "There's Renee Young and Candice Michelle. So Renee Michelle has to be called Drake's wife. How else will you know who she is? She can't use either name."
That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Jasmine Howard says, "Remember the championship scramble matches?"
I'm glad they don't do those anymore.
Yeah. Although the Brian Kendrick had a WWE Championship win, essentially, you could argue, in one of those scramble matches. Yeah, I wasn't massively fan of the
I think they're overly gimmicky.
Austin Tussey says, "Loved the Briscoe Orange Cassidy impression."
Briscoe has no idea. No one has less of an idea who Orange Cassidy is than Gerald Briscoe.
Maybe Pat Patterson.
Maybe.
What's his face? Oh, I'm going to ruin this, aren't I? Jerry Lawler. Austin Tussey says, "Loved the Briscoe." It's hot in here. Matthew Robinson says, "Well, at least I think Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns might be a good feud." Yeah, because they proved that last year.
Yeah. He's already beaten him clean, though.
Yeah.
Marcus Roman says, "Who can best the Ted DiBiase laugh?"
Ooh,
Good question.
that's tough.
Shane Douglas.
Matthew Robinson says, "The start seemed off and not all the nostalgic acts worked. Also, it was funny as Road Dogg come out I thought, oh no, Billy Gunn won't be there. Hashtag love you guys, Luke and Ollie.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much.
Yeah.
I thought the saddest thing about that segment was seeing Hall and Nash just being superfluous. Just
Well, Hall
just old-
forgot to too sweet when everyone else was. He was
Yeah.
just looking around.
Just seemed like
Hall was
two
very
old men.
Yeah, Hall looked very old.
Yeah.
Lloyd, thank you for your donation. Tim Arndt says, we all know that if the main roster stars go to NXT, it'll be Reigns and Rollins with Corbin in the main event.
What, of NXT? Oof.
Matthew Robinson says, also they started the feud of Seth and AJ for after SummerSlam. Why they do stupid $1 million man turn? Why can't a man pin a woman to take the 24 title? WWE cheap way out.
No, that's the $1 Million Man's gimmick.
Yeah, that was actually quite a smart way
It was,
to
it was really funny, yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
really
good.
smart.
Plus, it's not just man on woman violence. It's he's not medically cleared to take a bump. He's
Yeah.
too old.
But also, if you were to give me, what would you do with the $1 Million Man?
Yeah.
Like, he buys the title.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to disagree with Matthew even more, he says, I will at least say that Seth talk on Miz TV was great. The Brockisms were hilarious.
Oh, I thought they were painfully unfunny. I'm glad you found some pleasure in them.
Yeah.
Rons Rajan says, Mandible Claw looked absolutely terrifying by Bray Wyatt. Should become part of his finishing arsenal. People are saying things here to...
I disagree. I think I don't know why people want to change up
I
his
like
finishes.
Sister
I like
Abigail,
Sister Abigail as a finisher.
Tomo says,
Tomo.
Ollie, you can have this $50
Whoa,
if I
thank
can
you.
have that shirt of yours or Luke's shirt. How about Randy's shirt? Nah, I'd rather see him not wearing one. Ignore that last one. Love everybody. But of course, I love me more than anything.
Oh, Tomo's getting megalomaniac.
Oh, I think he is,
megalomaniacal.
Absolutely.
He is.
It's easy for you to say.
Nate dropped surname says, it's not kidnapping, it's wife swap. He left Mella.
They're not married.
okay.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
John DiPietro,
I'd
who's
much rather hang out with Drake's wife though than Carmella. She's like a pain in the ass to hang out with. She just want to go out partying all the time. Like, settle down. Just want to have a night in. Just watch Queer Eye. Come on.
John DiPietro says, missed the stream because of customers, but have some money.
Oh, thank you very much.
Stupid customers. Matthew Robinson says, love you guys at WrestleRamble. You keep me loving wrestling. Also, Stone Cold still has it and makes me feel part of it on TV. I don't know how he does it, but he makes me feel a part of WWE.
He's very, very good at what he does.
He's like once in a lifetime.
Really is.
How good he is.
We're lucky to have had him.
Caution G-Style says, fancy book Alistair versus Bray.
Not yet.
That's a bigger question to get into, but you want to keep them apart for as long as possible, like
Yeah.
on separate shows for a year at least.
Yeah.
Matthew Robinson, you're being very generous today, Matthew, says, give me more Luke merch.
I mean, I don't have any, so yeah, that would be one.
Hey, that's more. Kayla Maldonado says, love you guys and all the SWAF Nation. Well, thank you, Kayla.
Thank you. We
thank
love
Thank
you.
you for your Young Bucks pop thingies.
Where are they?
Oh, they're over there. I had to move them. They're
Right.
on the desk.
Yeah, I see 'em.
Where is the next one? Lewis Collins says, just got off work, actually just down the road from you guys. Shout out to Mother Kelly's and the Marksman, and I guess Raw was okay. Santino for 24/7 champ.
Oh, it should have happened.
Should have happened, yeah. Missed opportunity.
Matthew Robinson
Among others.
again says, it is crazy they may have accidentally forwarded the current storylines better than normal without reunion was okay, not good.
What are all those words?
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I
confusing,
didn't quite
Matthew.
follow that one.
Because they didn't further any storylines, really.
No.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Anyway, but when I said that in the chat, people were like, "Hey, it's a one-off show. Storylines can wait till next week." But it's like that's not the point.
3 weeks from
It's 3 weeks.
SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks in your second biggest show of the year.
Yes.
That's not in Saudi Arabia.
Mrs. S says, "How uninterested did Triple H look at the end of the segment? You think he was like, I could have booked this better, or this is too long? Loved the big dog line.
No, and Triple H stood tall. I'm sure he loved it.
He did. He was just hugging all his mates. He was just like, hey."
I think he was also like, Steve, don't get on the mic again. I think producer Triple H in the back of his head is, we've got to go home. We've got to take it home. Why is he talking? What's he saying about Gerald Briscoe and doing illegal stuff over South Africa?
Vactors V says, since we are on the topic of nostalgia, can we get a nostalgic Robert Roode mustache break?
Ba-da-dum, bum, dum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Ba-da-da-dum, bum.
We have 7 more, so let's get
Come
through
on.
them. Tanner Sturicka says, Samoa Joe was right. Nostalgia is killing WWE. We are all hypocrites for buying in. Raw started happy. Joe came. Reality hit. But Bray is GOAT.
Bray's great at the moment.
Yeah, Bray is great.
He really is. Graham Scrivener says, I hope the Kofi Orton feud goes well. The last time Kofi got buried.
Yeah.
A different time, though.
Yeah, and Orton's seems to have grown up a lot himself.
Yeah.
Trey Williams says, Mankind versus The Fiend at SummerSlam. I do not want to see that.
No. It's Mick Foley shouldn't be having matches these days.
Well, that's Bray. You could just destroy him.
With a
I don't
mandible
need
claw.
that, though.
Just like a gentle put him down on the ground.
Yeah, like
Mick
that.
wouldn't do that. He'd want to go through a flaming table.
Yeah.
Like and he shouldn't. Like if he can't do that sort of match.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't say that the Undertaker shouldn't have come back and say Mick Foley should.
Such a Mick Foley mark, though.
Yeah.
J2 Jorgito El Rey says Kushida versus Cole at NXT House Show is better than a Raw reunion. I think he means Adam Cole.
Well,
Yeah.
I would assume so, yeah. And I'd imagine it probably was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like a hell of a match.
One shed of live with Kushida.
Laramie
Boring wrestler story.
Laramie Eschnauer says, on the Weezer note, earlier it's Surf Wax America.
Surf Wax America. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
I mean, I've got a computer here. I could have Googled it.
Thank you, Laramie. Kevin says, it's sad because a lot of stories for SummerSlam didn't need a lot of storytelling, but they will rush most of them and overbook everything just to have people talking about the show.
Yeah.
Mrs. S says, anyone else find it funny when Ollie doesn't agree with a comment and tries to hypnotize you when looking into the camera?
Well, it's because I'm talking directly at you for being wrong.
Yes. Tanner Sturicka says, but here's how to fix WWE. Well, get rid of the old people. Sorry, but my generation is being killed by nostalgia. It's pathetic. I popped, but it's pathetic.
It's actually someone tweeted me saying, like, I'm only like recently new to the product, so I don't know why I'm supposed to be excited about people from 20 years ago. Which actually is an excellent point.
And if they want, because they want to bring in new people, that's what they're bringing in Ricochet and the Street Profits, bring in new guys, and then they bring on these guys. Like, huh, who's this?
That requires like effort and planning. You've already done the stuff in the past with the old guys.
And here is our last one. Sean Turner says, Mrs. S, you are overthinking it. Ollie would never. I think she's hypnotize or...
You're right. I don't hypnotize you at home using a definitely specific
But when he
cadence
clicks his fingers
of speech. Donate on Patreon.
Like
Speaking
speaking of
of, we have some Patreon Pledge Hammer shout-outs to give for our $25 a month or more backers. So thank you, Kratos' forgotten son, Chris Petro.
Nice,
Woo!
yes!
Yeah.
Trey was a race car driver. Spicer!
Hey, just a two-ball guy, Matt Rivera.
Just got two balls. Just got two balls.
The Titan, Owen Towers.
Yes, nice. He said there's a rainstorm coming. It's a Terminator reference. It's like one of the last lines of the movie.
It's the Aussie experience, Dave Humphrey.
Whoa.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Oi, oi, oi.
The real boss, Matt Robinson.
Nice. The real deal sex appeal, Andy Puckett.
That's a
Yeah.
great name.
Great.
And finally, just incredible, Adelheit.
Yeah,
Whoa,
nice.
thank you very much. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Please click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest awesome Wrestle Talk things. And this button right here, which will take you to Patreon, where you can become a Pledge Hammer and get your own shout-outs on the show. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen. Over there was WrestleTalk.com's Randy Andy Datson. And that was Rambling. That was the Raw Reunion